We lost him already. You have to do something, man. Come on.
Oh, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Elusive Exclusive Book Society. We survived another one. I mean,
not beating around the bush on this one, huh, Jake?
Huh?
Start entertaining.
All right. We're entertaining now. Today we are joined by the outlaw himself, Levi Wallace, which he told us what he did off stream a minute ago, how he became an outlaw. We can't say it here for like legal purposes, but it's what you think. It's what you'd assume. And also, Dave from the Vintage Science Fiction Reader.
Paperback Reader. Come on.
Vintage Paperback Reader, sorry. You might do science fiction too? Wait, I'm stupid, okay?
Yeah.
Everything is not science fiction, dude.
Yeah, okay. The vintage everything but science fiction paperback reader, Dave. And today we read The Destroyer.
Voodoo Die.
Voodoo Die. And I can't wait to talk about it.
Awesome.
Take it away, Nick.
The Voodoo Die here. The Destroyer is number 33. It came out in 1978, and it's by Richard Sapir and Warren Murphy. This cover art is by Hector Garrido. You guys know who that is?
That sounds familiar. I have heard that name.
He's done a lot of paperback covers, but he also did the packaging for the G.I. Joe toys.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Very fitting. Okay.
So the Destroyer.
He had to do the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Repent? What? And so the G.I. Joe covers were bad? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
It's not as easy when you're not hiding behind the comments, is it? Is it, Levi? A little harder to be funny out here on stage.
I'll be legit. Most of the comments I put up, they're written twice.
Of course.
All right, where are we at?
Look at Brian's comment.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I don't know. I liked it, actually. Yeah. Maybe I'm the only one, but I thought it was okay.
Well, so what is it about, Nick? Before we tear it apart.
Okay. Sorry, we got a little distracted.
Yeah.
So we got the Destroyer here. We're on an island in the Caribbean, and the island is called Bakia. There's a reverend doctor sent there to help with the locals. He discovers some mud that cures depression when you put it on your forehead. And he wants to know how it works. So he, I don't know, does some science or something. And then it creates a laser and it shoots at people and they become a pile of goo.
I'm laughing, but you're not wrong is the thing.
100% accurate.
It is, yeah.
So once the island kind of wannabe dictator learns that this weapon exists, it's a weapon to him. He takes control of it and just starts zapping all of his enemies.
Well, hold on, Nick. You've missed one very important bit of the story. How is it that this Reverend Doctor discovers that the Hmong kills people?
Best scene of the book.
Oh, because he accidentally melts his girlfriend? Is that right?
Yeah, his very unattractive girlfriend.
Yeah, she's the only woman on the whole island that can walk through and not get hit on. That's how ugly she is. So obviously they can't let this dictator have this weapon, and all the other countries want it too. The whole world wants it. We got to get this super weapon. So all of the powers send their eyes in, and the U.S. sends in their secret team of Remo Williams and Chun. You think I'm saying that right? Chun?
Maybe.
They are the Nanju masters, some kind of Korean martial arts, I think. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so they go down there and adventure ensues, I guess.
Does it though?
All right, what did I miss while I was talking?
I mean, you covered, to be fair, you covered the basics, and everything you said was correct, as ridiculous as some of it seems. This Christian minister doctor accidentally turns his very unattractive girlfriend into a puddle of goo by irradiating this stuff that he has been using to cure people of depression for the past however long he's been there. And it was at that point where I'm just like, okay, is this a comedy? Are we going full comedy with this?
Well, doesn't it say on the back that it's a satire? Or
Does it?
Does it?
No, it doesn't.
No,
No.
I must have saw that somewhere else. But, yeah.
Yeah, but not just does he vaporize his girlfriend, but his reaction, his one word kind of
Oh.
It's like, that was, for me, that was beautiful.
Yeah, he's quite a missionary doctor. Like, I wonder what would happen if I took this healing mud, this magic voodoo mud, and put it in a ray gun.
Oh, man of science. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Makes
Yeah,
sense to me. I mean, if you had invented penicillin, the first thing you want to do is like, can I make a light bulb out of this penicillin? And shine it on people. Like, that's the ultimate next step.
All right, for future reference, Jeff says that it's Chiun.
Chiun.
Okay.
Chiun.
Probably correct.
Probably correct. But I was
Right.
watching a clip from the Remo Williams movie, and they say it's Chiun.
Chiun.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're getting called
So,
out, Jeff.
It's probably made up. So, Franklin, the Sinanju master, Franklin.
Yeah, did anyone look up and see if that's a real thing? Sinanju?
I did look it up. It is something that the authors of this book created. I think the word has some basis in like Hindu mysticism or something like that, but the actual martial art is something that was wholly created for the Destroyer.
Oh, Jeff says it is indeed made up. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Jeff.
Or at least that's what Wikipedia told me.
Well, the name the Destroyer is taken from some Hindu text. I forget the name of it, but the author is like, yeah, I was just reading this Hindu text, and like that's where I got the name for the Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, Remo Williams becomes the avatar of Shiva. That's not inside this book.
Of
but
course
that's
he
just,
does.
Later on down the line.
Oh, you're talking about from that interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it. You guys talk. No, just kidding. Okay, anyway. So here we go. Yeah, see, everyone says that it's not real.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, David. Well, we got experts and then we got non-experts. So yeah, here we go. It's started. Is everyone thinking this is a comedy?
Yeah.
Did you think it right away, or did it take a second?
If I had gone into it, I probably would have gotten keyed into it, just like how many jokes there were about like the doctor's like education and all, like when he's talking to that dermatology student or whatever. But I looked it up beforehand, and so I knew that the series as a whole was like a satire. That's what I was concerned about, that because satire is a word that comedians use when their jokes don't land. Right. So I was like, oh no, what am I in for? It actually ended up being kind of funny. So
yeah. See, now I previously had read the first one, the first Destroyer, where Remo Williams becomes the Destroyer. That was nothing at all like this. It was definitely more of a serious tone, and I found it to be kind of, I don't know, it was boring. I mean, Chun was a comic relief sort of at the time, but then when I started reading this one, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to read the rest of these now because this is just funny as hell. And I don't care if he means it to be satire. I don't care if it's unintentional. It was funny. I enjoyed it. So, that being saying that, this definitely was kind of inappropriately stereotype city. So,
definitely
set that aside. If don't get triggered, but if you can get through that, there is definitely some humor in here. And but I think this was definitely a progression. I think they may have tried starting a serious series, and then of course I think at some later time it didn't. Warren Murphy, didn't he break off and later on in the series?
So the way I understand it, like books 1 and 2 written by this team were pretty serious because the publisher was looking for another book that was like the Executioner series.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it came around for book number 3, they decided that they didn't want to write the same type of book again and again and again. They're like, well, let's just make jokes. And so the third book was pretty heavily satire comedy. It was just that from then on. In 1985 or 1986, Richard Sapir died. And they had been considering not doing the Destroyer anymore. But once Richard Sapir died, Warren Murphy's like, well, he's got kids. The residuals would be really good for them, blah, blah, blah. So he kept writing it, hiring ghostwriters. He died in like 2015. But like the last 30 or 40 Destroyer books, or more than that even, have been ghostwriters, or co-authors with Warren Murphy. His wife, Warren Murphy's wife, wrote about 15 or 16 of them. So
nice.
See, I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known this was supposed to be a comedy or satire, because I just thought it was stupid. Because I read so much stuff that's stupid, and so I've read stuff that people write like this, thinking they're writing something cool, like when the bag boy, when they're getting off the airplane, and the bag boy drops, or somebody drops like some luggage
with a soap opera.
Yeah,
and Chuan kills him.
Precious VHS tapes.
His
American
entire case of soap opera VHS tapes, and he kills this guy, but we don't know how. It doesn't say how. All it says is he's running around him. I'm guessing with his fingernails, but he's karate chopping this guy into pieces, and so that he's basically like getting shorter, and then his knees are on his shoes, and then he almost disappears altogether and just left with a pile of gore.
It's the guy from Fist of the North Star.
Yeah, how bad is that? That's I mean, that would scare me.
Admittedly, those are the parts of the book I didn't like, when it's like, if you know Sin Anju, you're pretty much Superman. Like anytime it got into like that capacity, I'm like, I just checked out. But all the parts that did involve, them using their ancient Korean superpowers to dismantle somebody, I thought the book was pretty good.
It definitely would have been a lot better if they actually had actual fight scenes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because like it's just immediately like they step in, and then it's just, oh, look how powerful they are.
And it's even worse because it's like, and it's all in slow motion. You're like, wow, exciting.
What are you guys? Help me out here, because I see some of you in the chat as well. What about this was good to you guys? Because our heroes end up coming to steal this device for the U.S. president. They come and steal it, or they're going to steal it, but they don't. They just sit at a hotel watching soap operas, killing Russians. And eventually the dictator looks over, has been watching them the whole time like a creeper, watching them kill Russians. And now I have to kill these guys. And it just works out. What about this do you guys like?
If you accept that Remo and Chun are not the actual protagonists to the book, that is like the dictator, Corazon. He's the actual protagonist of the book. if you can accept that, then like everything just then it makes sense narratively where everything goes.
Right. Well, and Ruby Gonzalez too. So those are the two main characters.
I was about to say,
After the halfway point, and then
Yep.
suddenly there's a hero in the story
Right.
who can accomplish something.
Right. And Chun and Remo are Felix Unger, with the odd couple in the hotel room, you know, bitching at each other, laying on the bed and insulting each other. And then, like you said, occasionally killing Russians and Belgians and whoever else.
All the stuff in the hotel I thought was hilarious because it played out exactly like an episode of Get Smart. Where it's just like all these spies come into the same hotel and they're lobbing grenades at each other and smoke bombs and the whole bit.
I got to say that if I was in a better mood, I probably would have appreciated it more.
Was it because we had just read the Reassembled Man before this?
It's just getting pummeled was bad, the book.
Oh man.
And I wasn't in the mood for it. I don't know.
It sapped all the goodwill and charity out of Nick's heart to read Reassembled Man. It made him just a bitter old man after that book.
Oh, put yourself in me and Paul's shoes there in the chat, reading this, then reading the Star Witches, or the Reassembled Man, then Star Witches, then this. Yeah, I feel like I got hit by a truck.
I think you're missing the point. Like this was, like Levi's saying, this was not supposed to be serious. This is not supposed to be the Executioner or any of that kind of stuff. It's it's a palate cleanser. It's just sit back, watch what's happening and just laugh at it, giggle at it, and that's what I did. I may have had some help with the giggles, but I mean, still, I thought it was just for what it was enjoyable. It was a great pastime.
This is hilarious.
I will admit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, after I was done reading it, my mom's like, let me see that book. I want to know what you're talking about. Let me look at it. And she gets done reading it. I'm like, well, what'd you think? And she said what Jake said. It's like, it's so stupid. But I got to admit, like, the jokes told in this, it's probably why I appreciate it so much. The jokes told in this are pretty much exactly like the type of jokes me and my brother would tell to each other. Just like that stupid, like, understated, sarcastic nonsense. I mean, just absurdism.
Is your brother an old Korean man who watches soap operas on VHS tape?
He watches a lot of television. I don't know that I could get him to admit to watching a soap opera.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the satire, it was of the time, and I didn't get a lot of it also. So I don't know what they're mocking. So some of the caricatures might have been funny. The dictator or whatever was going on. I mean, I know Davey said it was like offensive, but it was offensive to everybody. Like
Right.
Everybody was a stereotype. Because at first I was like, oh man, we got to talk about this. And then they were like, the president is the stupidest person in the world. And
who's stupid? The president or the CIA?
Yeah. It was like everyone is just this ridiculous version of themselves.
Right. And I mean, and if that's spot on. And if you looked at some of the subcontext, some of the background, when this was written, Jimmy Carter was the president. And there were allusions to peanut farming when talking about the president and how stupid he was. So, I mean, yeah, maybe some of that background, if you had that background, it lands a little better. But yeah, you could see Noriega in this, I thought.
That's what I thought it was too.
Yeah, and so and again, you're spot on. They didn't let anybody slide. Everybody was abused. Which to me that makes it a little bit better because it's obviously this isn't coming from somebody's, personal beliefs or whatever. They're just hitting everybody to make some jokes. And I see Jake, I see you're going, but
maybe.
I think that's what they were trying to do. Whether or not they succeeded, I don't know. For me, it was fine. But, other people may be more sensitive to that kind of stuff and just think it's crap. And it, for a lot of people, it is.
Look, you see Keith's comment.
Nowhere.
He's got that get smart comment.
That's
Miss those Belgian commies like that much.
a good reference.
Yep.
Would you believe 3 soap operas?
3 soap operas.
2 soap operas? 1 soap opera. A rerun of John Wayne.
Okay, even taking into account the fact that it's a satire or meant to be a comedy, which I did not get. I thought it was just, I mean, I knew there were funny parts, but it seems like he's running around just like gooing everybody, right? Not turning everybody into goo is probably a better way of saying that. But like,
nope, you said it. He's gooing everyone.
snippet,
Like
I don't care.
Spider-Man running around the city, just
Yes, that's what I meant, Spider-Man.
yeah. We gotta,
But no, there's no fight scenes. There kind of is. Like even when the big battle scene, like in the big midpoint battle with when they're killing all the Russian spies, I'm like, finally something's bloody happening other than stupid dialogue, which is just this Caribbean accent. Sometimes,
Right.
sometimes the dictator's accent comes and goes, and then we just see it like from his viewpoint, watching them fight, kind of relaying what's happening. And then they're pretty much incapacitated the rest of the book.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like Levi said, they're not the heroes.
Yeah.
No,
They're
this
not
is
the protagonists.
this is a slice of life story about the dictator of a small South American country. And it's just a day in his life. Everything goes to pot.
What are you talking about? He's on top of the world.
Oh yeah, he owns all the tar that's produced in North America. Yeah, that's right.
All the tar, yep. Oh, this was so. Oh, okay.
Anyway, so all right. Well, let's. We've only just talked about the beginning, right? So I mean, they're down there, they're hanging out, watching soap operas, and the Russians are trying to get at the weapon. The British are trying to get at the weapon, and they go after Chion and Remo. Like you said, they destroy them
Who doesn't want to be there, by the way?
in slow motion.
Yeah, we forgot to the reason nothing happens between Remo and Chion is because Remo quits chapter 2 of the book. Like the chapter he's introduced in, his first thoughts are, "Yeah, I'm gonna quit."
Yeah. After stabbing a teenager to death.
Yeah, after brutalizing this mugger, he's like, "Yeah, I think I've had enough."
So the Generalissimo, he sees them do the damage that they can do, and now he's scared of them, and he wants to get rid of them, and no one can take them down. So he like gets in cahoots with the Russians, or is that before?
Yeah, so the dictator, he tries to make a deal with the Russians.
Yeah,
Because if you're in league with the Russians, you can keep doing whatever you want. But as soon as you ally yourself with the Americans, suddenly there's all these rules and regulations and human rights. And who wants those?
I
So he
got
tries to
that.
make So he tries to make a deal with the Russians to take out Remo and Chion. But they send out like 45 guys to the hotel, and they all get killed in the hallway because they're interrupting the soaps, and there's no commercial breaks. And then he's like, "Ah, man. Now I've got to make a deal with the Americans just to get them off the island and quit killing all these Russians, because if more Russians die, more Russians are going to come in, and then it's trouble."
Wow, you were really paying attention, Levi.
But I love how he.
I read it with both eyes. So.
Yeah.
But I love how this dictator. I love how he says that he's going to reopen relations with America, because he doesn't say it that way. He says, "Yes, we are going to have sex with America," and then someone has to correct him and be like, "You mean open relations?" Yes, that. And they kept saying it over and over again. And I will say that is the one joke that made me laugh every single time.
You didn't like?
Yes, we're going to have sex with America.
You didn't like the joke about the world's second best lover?
That was.
Oh.
It got a smirk out of me.
You guys are, hard, man. You're hard men.
The thing is, I think I'm in the same kind of boat as Nick is, where I've just had so much goodwill sapped out of me by all these terrible books that I've read lately. I'm sure I'll talk about it at some point on the channel. Right before I started this one, I tried reading a Western that was just absolutely terrible. And that was, I DNF'd it. It was so bad. So and I don't DNF books usually. So I was in a weird place picking up this Destroyer novel. So I and I think I was feeling like Jake, where I thought, okay, it's going to be a men's adventure novel. It's going to be like The Executioner. It's going to be something like that. We're going to have, nothing but explosions and fist fights and, kicking tiger sharks and whatever. And then we just have this incredibly goofy, satirical black comedy, I guess, that I don't know. I feel like if I was in a different mood reading this book, I would have liked it much better. But I just couldn't because I was in such a crabby mood reading like 3 or 4 bad books in a row.
No, I will say that there is an aspect to this book that I didn't like. And that would be the first word of the title. Because other than a bunch of drums, where the hell is the voodoo?
And zombies.
We did get zombies.
Right, yeah, there was a couple of zombies. That's right. Yeah, okay. And they kind of just shuffled around for a second or two. Yeah. But where was the voodoo?
Right.
Yeah. In a book that's 181 pages, the first actual voodoo there is on page like 148.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I prepared some alternate titles for Voodoo Died because obviously that is not accurate. Let's see, How to Succeed on Bacchia Without Really Trying. The Hmong and the Restless.
No, that one, yeah. That was
Hotel of Spies. That was pretty,
I think that's actually a assignment series title.
No, that's School for Spies. Or is it Hotel?
Oh, yeah, it's School for Spies. You're right.
Okay.
The Hmong and the Restless. All right, I'll allow it.
I like the Hmong and the Restless. And then you would have known what you were in for, too,
Yeah. Yeah, there's very little voodoo, and does anyone die because of voodoo in this book?
Yeah. The dictator, he's torn apart or something, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
The dictator? No, he's shoved in the mud.
In the tar.
In the tar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of soldiers, I believe, that were attacked on the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that guy got hoisted up the flagpole and all that.
Yeah, right.
Which happened outside the scene that was being described, but it happened.
Okay.
Because at the end, if you want to skip the spoilers or whatever, is that cool?
Well, we haven't even talked about the real main character of this book.
I was going to say, we haven't even talked about
the
only redeeming thing in this book, which is really offensive at the same time. But she's the only thing that you're like, yes, finally. And that's Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby is oh man, did I write? I think I got really upset and stopped taking notes. But
Ruby Gonzalez.
Yeah, right. She speaks Spanish. She's a black woman mix, and how did they pick her? Do you guys remember?
So the president wanted a CIA presence on Bacchia. So he's calling up all his guys, but they don't want to get in a position where they would be responsible for sending somebody. So they need, and there's also a thing like they needed someone who fit all the criteria of like a politically correct CIA agent. So they had to be black, they had to speak Spanish, they had to be a woman, all the boxes. And that was Ruby Gonzalez, the owner of a wig factory, who is buying contraband hair from U.S. sailors.
Yeah. What was her backstory though? How did she become the spy? Do you remember?
She went to a hard school where she was essentially self-educated because the school was so poor.
That's right.
And she started packing heat when she went to school and shot this kid in like the 8th grade. And from that, the CIA is like, hey, you want $23,000 a year for doing nothing? She's like, yeah, I do. And then they're like, hey, your number's up. Now you got to earn that $23,000. Dang it.
That's right. Here you go. Here's the voodoo. That's true. There was the prediction in the beginning when his cousin came in.
Yeah, but no one dies because of voodoo, and it's called Voodoo Die.
The book died because of voodoo.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm hearing from you guys.
Whatever.
So apparently,
not a Harry.
She's very badass.
Saves the
day.
They
send her down there, and the Generalissimo wants her, and she ain't having it. He puts her in jail. Remo and Chion go to rescue her, and then there's a shootout like a real shootout, and Remo and Chun are actually incapacitated.
They literally get put in cages.
Yeah. And then she just takes over. And then it's exciting.
Was it?
I want to point something out here. The working relationship between Richard Sapir and Warren Murphy. The way that worked is they would hash out the generalities of a plot over drinks. Richard Sapir would write the first half of one draft, then hand it over to Warren Murphy, who would finish the draft and then rewrite the whole thing so that it connected. Ruby Gonzalez appears exactly one half the way through this book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to assume she's completely an invention of Warren Murphy because Richard Sapir could not be bothered to put the plot into a way where it could like move forwards.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. That makes way too much sense.
Yeah, well, there you go. Being
Correct.
Correct. So yeah, she's there and I don't know, saves the day. There's like jokes and stuff. I mean, what more is there to really say about it? I mean, it's like
you're describing one of our live streams, Nick. There's jokes and stuff.
She is you know,
she's sassy,
offensively
God.
portrayed.
It's so weird how
all of her dialogue.
Oh yeah,
it's so weird how like they obviously tried to make like the most empowered black female character they could, and yet they were so racist in how they depicted.
they were trying to make Pam Grier in a book. You know what I mean? Like, but then Nick, the dialogue is for Ruby Gonzalez is the worst part of the book. Because she's a self-made woman, self-educated, supposed to be smart as a whip, and then she talks exactly like the backwards, ignorant dictator of this country. You know, like their dialogue is indistinguishable without an attribution.
Yeah, I wrote it down. It's funny. She's having a conversation with the leader of the Voodoo crew, and that's the only time that she talks normal. All of a sudden, she just speaks absolutely normal.
Yeah.
And he always does. I thought that was kind of cool. He was the one character that just kind of talked normal.
Mm-hmm.
Who, the dictator?
No, the
Voodoo leader. Yeah. Yeah.
What did they call him? He had a special name in here. From
Samadhi.
The what?
Yeah.
Samadhi, I believe it was.
Oh yeah. What? No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because my job is to whenever I read something to tie it to music, because I'm a nerd like that. So you've got Samadhi, you got Lives, Secret Samadhi, and then I don't know if any of you none of you are old enough to know, but the first time I saw the Mung in text, my mind immediately went to Mungo Jerry in the
summertime.
Yep. So
sideburns for days.
Yep. So that just I had to throw that out there. Had to put the music context.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting soundtrack to this book.
Was the book trying to say that the Samadhi that Ruby Gonzalez saw as a kid was the same guy as was on the island?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it just like two people who had like the same position in like the voodoo religion? Or was it the same guy?
I think
they said that it's not his name, that it's his title.
Right.
And that he's some kind of supernatural he's the voodoo leader, man.
Yeah. Was there a Samadhi in what's they all get mixed together in my head. What's the James Bond movie that had voodoo and stuff in it?
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. Okay. Is there a Samadhi in that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's been long since I've seen it.
The only thing I remember from that movie is the villain getting inflated to death at the end. That's the only thing I remember.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Okay,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask.
I was going to say something stupid. You go ahead.
No, that's what I'm about to do. But so did we wreck you by picking this book, Jake? Because it seems like you are just.
I think it's I'm not wrecked, but yeah, I'm wrecked. It's been a long string of duds. Yeah.
WRECKED or REKT?
I'm not cool. I'm not hip and jive enough to know the difference.
That's
When the
right.
highlight of the last month was the Ant-Men. Yeah. It's been a doozy. Jake is hurt.
Sliding down.
All right. The premise is stupid because there's this magic, this box that's covered in velvet that he lugs around, and it fires up like a chainsaw or whatever, the engine, and then he pushes a button, and somebody that he's pointing at will turn to goo, right? And they tell us how much better this is than bullets. Let me tell you something. It's not.
It's a joke.
That was the point the one guy was trying to make.
See,
the one guy was really proud of his bullet.
The joke. I didn't know it was a joke. I thought they were being serious. I was like, no. Bullets are way better than this. This is not obviously satire. It's obviously stupid, but it's not obviously satire to me.
It goes back to my first point. Satire is a word people use when the joke doesn't land. It's also a word publishers use to try and make you think that a funny book is supposed to be like more than just a series of jokes. I mean, there's no political point to this book where you would label it as a satire. None. But it is a bunch of jokes put back to back to back. But you can't publish that unless you're Terry Pratchett.
Satire is not just jokes that don't land. Like there's clear, like I'm thinking of like Naked Gun or, the Police Squad or things like Airplane, things like that. Pretty much anything Leslie Nielsen's in. That's like, when I think of satire, that's what I think of. Something that is like so.
That's more like the spoof of the genre spoof,
A spoof, correct. Yeah, that's that's where I go when I think of satire, not.
But the Destroyer's not a spoof, really, of anything. It's just, it is that genre with jokes attached.
I think it's mocking. It's mocking everything that it's talking about.
Is it?
They were reporters in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, before they wrote this.
Yeah.
So they knew all about all of the Russians and the dictators and the Caribbean and the Central America, all the stuff that was going on at the time. Presidents, I'm sure, depending on how they were reporters, maybe they were at the White House. So that's what I'm saying is like all this stuff is probably just jokes of the time that you don't get. It's like watching an old episode of Saturday Night Live and they have like some political stuff that was going on at the time. You have no idea what it is. You're just like, I guess that's funny, kind of.
Or you could just be old like me and appreciate it.
No, I definitely would have appreciated this book more if I was in a better mood. I was just, I'm going to just chalk this totally up to I was angry when I started this book and I was angry when I finished it.
Angry read.
Well, I guess the key, Tim, is were you angry-er when you finished it?
No,
Well,
I guess
was.
not. I don't know.
Well, we know Jake was.
Yeah. No, see, here's the thing. I was relieved when I got to the end of it. I was like, okay, fine, I got this over with. Now I can go read more Redwall.
Maybe I need to read a Redwall. That's the palate cleanse I need.
They're pretty dense, but yeah, they're good power. I can't speak. They're good palate cleansers. I found.
So that's
all you guys need is a little bit of mung and a wet washcloth to put on your forehead. Yeah. All those bad feelings.
Keep it away from anything irradiated.
Yeah. Do not get it next to the microwave.
Yeah.
Your house will disappear.
Yeah.
Unless you've been drinking. If you've been drinking, then you're totally safe.
That's true. For a while.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes, and then you're cooked.
Yeah, it just depends on your sense of humor, Jake.
Oh, I guess I don't have one.
So Jake, what you're saying is moving forward, are all jokes going to have to be explained to you now?
Shut up. How dare you use my own jokes against me?
It's
you have to explain a joke, and there is no joke.
Yeah, probably was.
You know what you need to do, Jake? You need to get smart.
I need to
Yeah.
get smart.
Jake just can't stand for anything that's parodic. You know, like it's just not his
But there's
bit.
some that I like. Like there's some I really like, but I really do think it's because I'm always reading the stupidest stuff that I don't catch it. I think it's just stupid. I don't realize that they're actually trying to be funny.
It's fair.
I didn't even notice, Jeff.
Well, that's the whole reason they were so susceptible to the beam
Yep.
when they got caught out on that rooftop.
Yeah, there is like a weird thought, not dialogue, but like a weird thought moment that Remo has in his introductory chapter where he's like bashing on people. He's bashing on people who eat meat because their bodies are like they're unnatural, and so they wouldn't be in a position to learn the kind of skills he has, because they point out that Sinanju is not only like a martial art, it's like a heightened sense of being almost.
It's a way of life.
Yeah.
To become the Superman that our caveman ancestors were.
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently our caveman ancestors were just so much more human than us. But and they kind of bring it up again because the reason that Remo and Chun get captured is because the dictator...
Let's set that up. Like they're in the prison to get Ruby Gonzalez.
Yes.
They get out, but there's they notice there's a bunch of guys with guns outside, and they're gonna get shot up if they try to go out the front door blasting with their superpowers.
You forgot something when they go to break her out. What are you trying to do? We're here to rescue. I don't need no man to rescue me. I'm about to rescue myself. You're gonna ruin everything.
Yeah, they do that bit.
Well, duh.
Yeah. Anyways,
big for a stormtrooper.
Yeah. Anyways, they decide they're gonna go out onto the roof. For some reason, I forget the reasoning behind going up when you need to get out, but
there wasn't a reason.
They end up on the rooftop. The dictator he shoots the kryptonite ray at Remo, but they're beneath a ledge a little bit, so they get caught in the radiation of the ray without being hit by the ray itself.
Right.
Remo and Chun go down. Ruby Gonzalez, because she drinks and smokes and eats red meat, nothing happens to her, and she's able to escape.
Yeah. So apparently, if you're drunk or if you have this incredibly strict vegetarian Zen lifestyle, the ray won't immediately turn you into a puddle of goo. It will just mess with your brain and knock you senseless.
Yeah, basically. Sounds good.
Science.
She blinded me with science.
So yeah,
great album.
I don't know. I guess is there much more that we can say about Voodoo Die here?
We probably said too much, but still, I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Levi, I know you loved it.
I thought it was a lot of fun for what you're not gonna change your life reading Voodoo Die, but for what it is, it's like you just spend a couple hours and listen to a stand-up routine about a Chinese man that watches a Korean man that watches soap operas. Yeah.
And to Jeff's point, yeah, I sure as hell did find Chun funny. I thought he was his bitching with Remo was the highlight of the book for me.
He did remind me a bit of Mr. Miyagi, just like the kind of like comedic banter between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid movies.
Yeah, sarcastic and really into assassination, sort of Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, like a very dark, very like, bloodthirsty Mr. Miyagi. Yeah. He wants to replace the president of the United States with a president of his choice by assassinating them.
Right. Whoever he works for should be the next.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
The part where he's arguing with Ruby over percentages, but he doesn't know what percentage of what he's talking about. I mean, I find that amusing.
As I hear you guys talking about it, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I guess I can. It does sound funny. I'm telling you, I was just in the worst mood.
Yeah,
I was just not in the mood for it.
Okay, here's the thing that'll get us all back on track. Is it as bad as Reassembled Man or Dancer from Atlantis? Because it's not, for me, it's not nearly as bad.
You can't possibly say this is, Jake.
No.
Dancer from Atlantis was better written. Like, Paul Anderson's a better writer. It was more boring for sure.
Okay.
But this was pretty dang boring.
Well, there were things happening at least.
No, there wasn't. There wasn't anything happening.
There were things happening not involving our main characters.
Operas.
They're not the heroes. The
They're
dictator
on the cover.
is the play.
I feel like Jake only remembers
Hey, or this guy with the crazy yellow hair beating the drum. He's not in the book. He's on the cover though.
We hear him.
His
though.
drums are we hear him all the time.
It's fair.
No, it's not as bad as those books.
Yeah, see?
But see, like Dancer from Atlantis, the first 30 pages, when you're just like, okay, what is happening here? Before you realize, oh, Paul Anderson doesn't know. But like when it seems like the initial setup, the premise, it's weird, it's interesting. I like the dynamic with the wife, and I liked it. Then it fell off the rails. This didn't have any part I really was like, I'm interested. It was just like this was more annoying. And part of it is like I think what Nick says is like it is like a frame of mind. Like I have some young children that are very, very funny, right? They're silly. They have me as a dad, so they're very sarcastic and sharp and rude sometimes. And sometimes they're absolutely hilarious. And sometimes when I'm like repairing something in the house and, hey Dad, look at this, and they like fart in my face or do something, I'm just not in the mood. You know what I mean? So I get what everything you guys are saying. Yeah, those things do sound like it sounds humorous. It wasn't funny to me.
That's what this book was. It was a fart in the face while you're trying to fix the drain.
I was trying to fix the drain and I got a fart in the face. That's exactly Destroyer number 33, Voodoo Die. I paid $7 for this stupid thing.
Oh my God.
Dang, dude.
With shipping. Maybe it was less, I forget.
And to be fair, I did go into this when I started reading this. I expected action. I expected serious, we're going to kill some, I don't know, Caribbean mafioso or something. But yeah, I had to switch gears. I had to, and so I guess my mind was in a much happier-go-lucky place at the time that I was able to make that switch, and that's why I enjoyed it. But I could totally get, if you are fully expecting this to be one of those ass-kicking books that we all know and love, it ain't going to do it for you.
I wrote down that it was
Hawk comes in.
funny. Yeah, right? That's funny in a different way.
Yeah.
No, I wrote down that it was funny until they went to the island. Then I was over it. So I thought it was funny.
So like the third chapter of the book.
I was, yeah, I guess. But I did. I said, oh, this guy is funny. The Chian guy. I was like, oh, that's funny. And I think it would have continued to be funny to me if it wasn't all funny.
Yeah.
If he was like a comic relief to the seriousness, the action or whatever. What do we got going on?
Yeah, because in this book, like the only two characters that actually act as like a straight man is Remo and then a little bit Ruby Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. Like they're the only like straight characters of the book, and then everybody else is like this goofy kind of comic relief type of absurdism.
I think Ruby was comic relief also.
It's about half and half with her. It depends on who she's having a conversation with.
Yeah, because she's actually doing something. She's planning her escape from the prison, and how she's going to return. And so she's got that tactical mindset going. So there's that offsets all that crazy wig stuff that she's got going on.
And the fact that she, no lie, fries greens for our heroes at one point in the book. And they ask her, what are they? And she says, what do you mean, what are they? They're greens. Greens are greens.
And it works. It was warrior needs sustenance, right?
Yep.
And they got it.
Yep. There you go. It's all you need.
They regain their strength by eating Fried greens.
Yep.
And then did nothing.
No, well, they didn't really need to.
No. Remo did kick the dictator into a tar pit on top of his machine, right?
No, his second in command did, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was
wasn't Remo.
yeah.
Remo didn't kick anybody.
That was
No.
the other guy that was kind of a straight man, almost the
major. What's his name?
Yeah.
major or sergeant or whatever.
Yeah, he's a
rank he
major.
was.
Yeah.
He was just at a position where he didn't have to worry about being assassinated for his
Right.
job.
Major
So long as he didn't assassinate anybody else, he'd
Estrada,
be
yeah.
ignored.
Yeah, Estrada.
Yeah.
All right, so that sounds like 2 yeses, 1 maybe, and 2 yes.
Yeah.
I think this is the first E.E.B.S where both the guests liked the book, and then all the hosts were like, "Nah,
Yeah.
down."
Yeah, that's weird. It's a weird one.
I can see that. I can see that too. That
Yeah.
maybe we just got one that was a little not as good as the others. Especially, once you get the characters and the jokes. I bet that there's lots of inside jokes in this series.
Yeah, after like, because the series is like 152 books, so like after that many, I'd imagine like it's pretty pat. Okay, these are the jokes, folks. Kind of.
All right. Well,
I gotta say though, I probably wouldn't read a sequel to this because if one of these books focused actually on Remo Williams and Chion getting down to business, I would be interested because, like I said, like all the times they actually had to like get into fisticuffs and do the sit and Jew stuff, I just glazed over. Like I couldn't be compelled to care.
Yeah, I'm going to keep reading. And the reason I say that is because, again, when I read the first one, that was kind of dark. There were some dark things that Remo had to, he's becoming the destroyer. So he's going through this training. Some of it is, mental deprivation and other kinds of things. And then he's sent on his first mission. I'm not going to spoil it, but his first mission is a dark mission that he had to accomplish. And so I'm thinking this is what, number 33. I think we just kind of jumped in here somewhere in the middle of the pond when maybe these guys were taking a break. I don't know, just writing a paycheck. But I still think there's going to be some better books in that series. So I'm going to give it a try.
yeah, I have more of them.
Yeah, me too.
They're always around. They're usually like $1.
Yeah.
I've looked at just like the covers for like the next 3 or 4 in the series. I think Ruby Gonzalez is in there to like book 5 after this, and then just spotty hit or miss afterwards, something like that.
Well, I don't need more Ruby, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're crazy. I was gonna say the opposite. I was like, if it was just a series about her, I would probably be more excited.
Well, that's how I found that out because I was like, this felt like a backdoor pilot in a TV show where like we're going to introduce this character and then they're going to get their own series. And so I was like, is there just a Ruby Gonzalez line of books that I was missing? I'm like, no, but she is in the Destroyer afterwards.
Number 20. Number 20 is the one to get.
Keep an eye out.
Assassin Playoff. Is Assassin Playoff a baseball related
I'm thinking it's hockey, actually.
or hockey? Okay,
Are you guys being serious?
I have no idea.
Well, yeah, of course.
I was thinking theater because the words playoff. Just
Oh,
because that'd be the kind of joke that would, like Remo and Chion have to go undercover in like a kabuki theater, like.
I feel like is this series still going to this day?
Yeah, they're.
No way.
You can get this book. This was republished 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh my gosh!
They are republishing all the books in new paperback format and an ebook. They're still ghostwriters writing new ones in the series. Like it's still going.
Man.
What I was about to say was, Levi, I feel like you should write one. You really get it. You get the characters. You get the feel, the comedy.
The Destroyer pastiche, huh?
Yeah. No, send it in for real.
Yeah, it's the Destroyer joins a book club. You his secret Sinanju powers to bore everyone to death with his No.
I'd probably read it.
There's a bunch of spin-offs to this too that have been published in like the last 15 years. There's like a young adult spin-off, which is about Levi Williams' son and his daughter doing stuff. There's a one-off book about Shun and like his youth where he's getting trained in Sinanju, and like just a whole bunch of stuff. A comic book series they produced.
I did see some of the comics, yeah.
Like
Wow.
Warren Murphy's son, who owns and runs everything now, he's down to business. He's making it work.
Nice.
Do you think it's because of the movies or because of the book series?
Because of the books. Like the movie came and went, and there was a failed TV pilot, which had Roddy McDowall as Chun. And
wow.
Wait. Say that again.
People and a dog saw that.
Say that again.
Roddy McDowall played Master Chun in the Remo Williams failed TV pilot.
Wow.
I've
It's a
seen
different
pictures
time
of it.
back then, wasn't it?
The guy who played Chun in the movie was British.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a white British actor playing Chun in the
oh
movie.
no. Oh. This is going in some
But they said
directions this episode.
They said we need an actor who can be caked under heavy makeup to look completely different and like somebody else. And say Roddy McDowall, he played a chimpanzee.
The monkey
He can
guy.
play a
Yeah.
Chinaman.
Oh my god.
He's Korean.
Yeah, Korean.
Come on, Levi. It's the second
And
time.
canceled.
Ah.
Oh, you're canceled, Nick.
Yeah.
Me, it was Levi. I
Your
just
channel.
corrected him.
Yeah.
I just
channel.
corrected him though.
Strike. Channel strike.
I'm canceled. Well, guys, it's great being this my last episode I'm on it all. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm even wearing like the goofy Hawaiian shirt with the pagodas on it. I didn't even consider that.
Oh, that wasn't on purpose? I thought that was a prop.
I intended to wear a Hawaiian shirt. This is just the one I had on from earlier. I didn't realize.
He has a vast wardrobe of Hawaiian shirts.
Apparently, should we just call him Magnum? What, you know? Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay, he's crazy.
Yeah.
all right. Well,
I agree with that one.
so
We're gonna get Daniel Craig to play Chun in the next Remo Williams movie. Just
Oh.
so we got a little time here, and I don't know. You know, the Destroyer. I don't know how. I mean, you liked it. I don't know. But I was thinking maybe there was something else. Yeah, that if maybe something else that we've all read. That
Oh,
maybe we could.
oh
Maybe
no!
we could talk about. for
Oh
a minute.
no! Oh no! Yeah.
Which is this right here? This is The Sunken Door by that man
What?
who's
right
that?
there.
He got two. He got two.
He got two.
I didn't buy two. I only bought one.
Is yours signed?
Mine is signed,
Oh.
but not the hardback. The paperback signed, which I'm like, I can't decide which one I'm going to put in the free little library. You know.
He's gonna put the signed one in there just to mess with me.
So
Just rip the page out of the paperback and glue it into the hardcover, and it'll be the equivalent.
Look, Levi, here's your first question as an author.
how sunken is
That's
this?
completely, entirely. It's
Before you started making videos, I went on your channel because I was like, who is this weirdo? I went on your channel and I saw the link and I'm like, I texted Nick and Tim immediately and I was like, he wrote a book. Levi wrote a book. We are going to get this. And so I bought this a while ago. Read it first because I was like, well, we're not gonna. Let me read it first because if it's hot trash, then we won't review it.
thank you. It's you heard it here, folks. Pulp Mortem. It's not hot trash.
It's not hot trash.
I'm gonna put you on the the back of my next one, the blurbs, like where they sell the book, is like Stephen King says it's garbage, but Pulp Mortem says it's not trash.
And so yeah, I told these two we definitely need to read it. And then you started making videos, and we're just like, oh, this is perfect.
So yeah,
And I gotta say, unlike with I almost said The Sunken Door. No, that's the other book. Unlike Voodoo Die, I was in a much better mood to read this book because I read this at the beginning of the month. So
thank goodness I was about to get on here and be roasted by,
No,
by the most depressing book club on earth. So, well, guys, next year we're going to read The Funeral Rites. Let's see how that goes.
so yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Is it all right, Levi?
I think the book is fantastic and that everyone needs a copy. It ought to be taught in university classes and in middle schools, like Tom Sawyer is. It's the next American classic. The next president of the United States will be inaugurated putting his hand on a copy of The Sunken Door.
It actually has, there's no goo, but there actually is more N-words than Tom Sawyer.
True.
I will say no. Just if it's a joke about somebody else's book, I would agree. But I got to cover myself here and say no, that is not true.
That is the correct answer, Levi.
Especially after all that Korean stuff.
Yes, after I made a fool of myself, getting the nationality of a fake ninja master wrong, I must do something to cover myself.
All right. Seriously though, I'm gonna hype the crap out of this, guys.
Yeah.
Read The Sunken Door by the outlaw Levi Wallace. This book was a hell of a time. I enjoyed this from beginning to end. Levi, I'm not joking. I finished this and I was like, that was a darn good book. So I am super glad that Jake told us to read this for this episode of the E.E.B.S.
See, not all my picks are bad picks. See.
Yeah. Fair. My big question is, Levi, where the heck did the idea for this book come from?
I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that.
Well, it's two things. One is the actual origination of the idea as a fictional piece. The book did not start out as a book. I was going to write a short story, and then once I got 16,000 words into a short story, I'm like, I got to reevaluate. And then I plotted it out to be a full-length novel.
Mm-hmm.
The idea, which didn't get included in the book, was about number stations. You know what that is?
No.
So if you're out in the desert and you're driving, you're flipping through radio stations and you hear just a man's voice reading off numbers like 5, 16, 27, 5, 3. Those are radio stations run by spies. It's an espionage thing, so that the person receiving the transmission has the decoder where they can get the information. That's the theory around number stations. Like, they pop up from time to time in different places.
Okay.
I was thinking that would be cool if somebody was like, if a group of kids were like finding these numbers and writing them down, but like the source of the numbers was like this weird spot in the woods where all this weird Lovecraft type stuff was happening. And so that was the origination of The Sunken Doors. Like, it was all supposed to be this mystery that led these kids to this place in the woods where the one guy would fall inside and things would go from there.
Mm.
When I reevaluated it to make it into a novel, I'm like, this numbers thing is too complicated and convoluted. It's not matching with all the other things I had to add in order to make sense of what I already had. So that ended up getting cut out to make room for something else.
Is that why you do all the counting on your channel now?
No, that's just because I'm
inside of you. I got to do something with these numbers.
You guys don't hear the numbers. I hear the numbers.
That, admittedly, like, the numbers thing is just a gimmick, so that I'm not just like counting titles off a list where, like, it makes it look like I'm completing something when I measure the books.
Right.
Oh, which I forgot. Let's see. Voodoo Die was a half an inch across and weighed 3.6 ounces. It brought our total of books read to 7 pounds and 14.6 ounces, and a total of 9.5 inches overall.
There we go.
And I forgot to add it to my shelf total, so it can't be subtracted. So,
dang it!
before we get any further, we jumped ahead. Why don't we say what the book is about? The Sunken Door. I have my notes here, but I just did the whole Voodoo die. Does anyone else want to?
This book is
Yeah, I was gonna
Stephen
say,
King, but
take
written at
it
an
away, Tim,
actual.
'cause it's been like a month and a half since I read it.
Oh gosh, I was gonna say this book is like a Stephen King novel, but downsized to something actually manageable. That's why I appreciated it. I got all the weird magical realism and Lovecraftian horror elements that are in Stephen King stories, but I actually looked forward to finishing it because it has a decent page count. That is what this book is about.
Yeah. Distilled Stephen King.
There you
by
go.
Fire Books.
All right, I'm gonna do it. So there's
I'm sorry, Nick. I'm too much of a wise ass this time.
there's this group of kids, and some of them have certain kind of powers, I guess, but not superheroes. They're very subtle things. Like one sees colors or sees colors for sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so they get their little group of friends. New guy meets the crew. So there's 4 of them, 4 kids, and that part is
What are their
definitely,
names? What are their names? Do you remember?
You want me to do it off the top of my head?
Yeah.
It's Rip, Ash, Gonzo, and Poindexter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job.
Do you know the real names, Jake?
Oh heck no.
I don't know that one either. So yeah, that part is definitely the Stephen King feels for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the first supernatural happening, and it's this woman on this date with this guy that she's kind of seeing a couple dates, and she goes back to his apartment ready to party, and she wakes up. She gets knocked out and wakes up naked, tied to a sacrificial stone, and he's there to. He's got a loincloth and a knife, and he's got this wicked snake tattoo. She gets loose while he's doing his magic chanting. I forget how she gets loose. Her hand slips out, and she kicks the guy's ass, and she fucking kills him. I was like, you had me. I was like, oh, this girl's gonna get it. And I was like, oh damn, he flipped the script on me. I didn't see it coming. So, but after this isn't spoiler, right? This is just plot.
It's not spoilers until like you're halfway through the book.
Okay, so we're not spoiling anything. We're not gonna do this like a normal E.E.B.S. We're
Mhm.
definitely stopping. But so the tattoo transfers to her body now. And it turns out this thing is a living creature and it slides all over her body. That was such a cool idea, such awesome visuals.
It's
And
gnarly
it comes up
too.
to her, like the head comes up to her mouth and becomes her. And now she's possessed by this evil entity, and she needs to eat hearts. I think heart specific.
Mm.
And she becomes like a serial killer. And then there's a faction of people, I guess like a good cult of that have been fighting this supernatural snake creature for generations. So the story is them hunting down this snake creature, and it ties in to a set of doors just out in the middle of the woods, locked up. And I don't know. Is that good? Is that good without spoiling it?
No, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
The way
witches, but good like actually well done witches, not like the witch book I just read. Yeah, and it gets very weird.
Mm.
You get lots of strange and like kind of surreal and bizarre imagery, which I love. It is like I like what you said. It is very like eldritch. There's a lot of Lovecraftian visuals and things. There's
You can
Mysterious.
go through the book and probably like chapter by chapter determine what I was reading when I wrote that chapter. Like it's pretty like no, go ahead. Finish your thought, Jake.
I don't know. I don't know what I was saying.
I was gonna say, to add on to that, it also has real world mythology. It's not just Levi isn't just writing Cthulhu mythos.
Yeah.
Like
But
this is
I couldn't do it. Like going like Og Yogg-Sothoth, like it works in Lovecraft, but like anytime anyone else tries to touch it, I just roll my eyes.
no, you did it. You did it awesome. Here's a question
Thank
for you. Is this suitable for a granddaughter?
I wouldn't recommend anyone read this that's under 13. You know what I mean? Like if you're just like going into like that junior high school level, like fine, but it definitely not for kids.
Like there's some gnarly parts, but it's not like it's nowhere near as vulgar or as
No, it's not.
as a Stephen King. If she's reading Stephen King, this should be fine with this, I think.
So let's see.
Well, I was going to say, Levi, or you could do what I do and you come up with your own mythology. And then a year later, you realize, oh, wait, I stole this from this author and I stole this from this movie. Oh gosh, I plagiarized everything.
It's pretty much what I've done anyways, because like not getting into spoilers, but like the real world mythology Nick touched on, it's paper thin. Like I'm essentially doing my own thing and then just like borrowing the serial numbers off of other people, you know.
Okay, yeah,
along those lines.
Keith says, I can't believe it's based on a true story.
I know. I haven't jumped in. I haven't jumped in yet, so I got to say my piece. But yeah, no, everything, and I'm pretty much going to be a freaking ditto. But everything that you're talking about, I definitely caught those Lovecraftian influences, but without. You're not doing Lovecraft, right? So it was enough to be in my brain as one of those worms typically do, and just see that through that reference point. And then, when I like to talk about things, I like to compare. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not saying, but when I read this, in addition to Lovecraft, I was thinking, I was visualizing the Upside Down when you. Oh yeah. When in that section of the book, I used those kinds of references to visualize whether that was an influence on you or not. I could see what you were writing, and it was just fascinating. So I'll say good.
Yeah, it was really. Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, to touch on something that Jake mentioned, I love that your version of witchcraft in this is very mythological, to the point where the character, when he's visiting this coven of witches, even brings up the fact that it would be foolish to give his actual name to a witch. And I was like, yes, that's what you do. You don't tell magical people your name. Yeah. You don't give them personal information. They can do all kinds of gnarly stuff with that. So I love that. I love the little touches that you sprinkle into the weird the references to real world myth.
A lot of that is, just accumulated knowledge from other books I've read, but like specifically Manly Wade Wellman's Silver John stories. That's where a lot of that comes from. There's a chapter in one of the books. I think it's After Dark is the book. There's a witch in that story who's trying to get a certain character to give her something. And she stops along the road after being rebuffed like 3 times. And she says, "Can I have this flower?" And the guy says, like, "You can take it if you want it, but I ain't giving you nothing." Yeah, a lot of that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it even cooler. Now that you say it, I'm like, all that, up in the mountain, all the Appalachian stuff, and the witches, totally.
I like the Silver John stuff a whole lot. A lot of that got put into the book for those types of things. The snake tattoo was added in because when I was doing the plot outline, that didn't exist from the word go. I was reading The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. And I'm like, that idea was, I'm like, that's really cool. I want to use it. I'm just going to steal it and like remold it into something grotesque and put it in my book. So that's, cool. Thanks, Jeff.
It's worth it, Jeff. I promise.
Yeah, there was some. So some of the things that I enjoyed were you did have a lot of characters, but it didn't get messy. I knew who everybody was.
Thanks. I worry about that every time I bring up a new project, because like for a first time novel, like this is way too many characters to put into a book. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. But so I was like, at every moment where it's like, okay, are we gonna know who in the scene and who's saying this bit of dialogue and who's got this feature? What, like, I was always double checking to make sure that the page was clean, that you could read it and know where the person was at.
Yeah, it was clear. I got a little nervous. I was like, oh, this is a lot of characters. Anyway, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I can't. Yeah, it was very very cohesive. And what was really cool also is that it moves really fast.
Yeah.
That's
that's what I was gonna say that too, Nick, when you brought up like the multitude of characters, is because I had that same thought when we're kind of like when we first are introduced to that whole brotherhood. And again, there's a lot of characters at the same time, and then they're like it branches off in different, they each do different scenes at some point, and I'm like, I did get to a point where I'm like, I can't remember if this was the same person or this was, so I knew I had to hold on and like see where it went, and it didn't lose me, but I felt my grip slipping for a second. But I was just about to say that it moved so fast that instantly I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what's going on. It's not like I didn't have to wait more than 10 pages before I realized, okay, this is now it's back on track. What I appreciate as well is I didn't know where this was going at all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know where this was going. I didn't know how it was going to end. And I was like, with any of the characters, with the and even when the book kind of goes to the brotherhood, and then not towards the end, but towards the latter half where the kids are introduced again, and we're dealing with like jumps in time, or are we, or you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it moves fast, but I appreciated the fact that it kept me on my toes. Like I literally did not know what I was going to read at the very next part.
Yeah, the second draft, working on the second draft, the majority of that was just cutting out all the slog. Like this is too slow, this doesn't go anywhere. Just cutting out all the useless bits that I had put in when I was still working it out.
And Nick, I was going to say there's a comment there from Hero Book Adventures that we need to talk about. What are those sprayed edge bound? What are those special volumes that we seen on the
box? They spray the text blocks and stuff.
Yeah,
the broken binding.
Binding. That's it. Yeah. So when can we see that?
Yeah.
If I'm ever so successful that I could accomplish that feat, I'm just going to retire. You will never see me again. I'm just going to disappear.
He'll upgrade his tree house to a tree mansion.
Yeah, that's right.
There was something else that I really liked about it is the ambiguousness of the era. This is obviously before cell phones.
Yeah.
And there's no cell phone, so I marked it right there. It's probably like before 2000. Whoops. And then they go to a rock and roll show. So I was like, this is somewhere between the 50s and the 2000s. And what's I really appreciate is everyone is always just dumping the nostalgia on things, and they're playing DVD and watching their VCR and who's the boss and everything they can possibly shove in there to attract the nostalgia in your mind. So you don't actually like the story, you just like the way it makes you remember your childhood, So this was so different because I didn't know what era it was,
Yeah.
It was so ambiguous.
When I was working on this as a short story, like I say, it was all to do with like the number stations and all the gobbledygook that goes over that. But I was also like, I want to write a kids on bikes adventure story, like the old Spielberg films and that kind of, So I'm like, that necessarily means late 70s up to like 91 or something. Like that's the furthest you can push that out. So like, the only time I ran into trouble doing that was there's a scene where someone has to call an emergency line. And like in the first draft, that's 911. But I had to, I was like, when did 911 become a thing? And like, it was after, and like, okay, cut it, rewrite it, amend it around so that the hole doesn't show.
So you were conscious of this. This is a conscious decision.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
I didn't want to write because it's a bunch of kids on their cell phones, but that would interest me. But just trying to preserve like kids on bikes, nature, With some of that still shows through. It gets like the way the story progressed, it kind of got lost in the mix, so it's not so much of that anymore. But that's the original inception of the idea, was to write that.
That's really clever because it gives it not having a specific date, which I didn't even think of that, Nick, until you mentioned it. It gives it more of a fable or more of a not fairy tale, but more of a like a fairy tale type feel, or it's more mythological as far as not being so grounded in a specific time. And so
it allows the reader to more readily accept that it's a fantasy. If you tried to make it real and current and up to date, people would be like, okay, that doesn't work that way. You actually have to do this if you want to accomplish this other thing. Like, if it's set in the past, the people that live there, they're not going to remember all the fine details that would give me away. Yeah. And the people who've never been there, like, they just accept it. They might as well be reading a Narnia book for all that the average young person today knows about the 1980s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it might as well be just a completely different time and place.
Yeah. Get the both editions are good, but I think the hardcover's got better art.
Oh gosh, there it is.
There's Big Tim.
Or Tim.
Surprise! Now we're doing Tim's.
Oh gosh, please no. Please no. I already had Kevin Toll make the sappiest, most overly positive book review of my book ever, and I loved it, but at the same time, like, oh, he's being way too nice to me right now.
Yeah, and then he immediately went and blasted me the very next video.
Exactly.
What the heck?
I was, what was the other thing I wrote down? Right. So Levi, our main group of kids, Ash, Gonzo, Rip, Poindexter, where did I know you said that you wanted to make like this old fashioned, kids on bikes adventure story. Were those characters, was there a certain inception point for each of those characters? Are they based on anything, or I don't know, like
no, it's more just like I knew in broad terms what types of characters I would need to play off each other in the group.
Okay.
And honestly, if I'm gonna cite some of the faults I have with my own novel, it's that the character Rip is supposed to be this point of view entry character for the book. Mm-hmm. But the way the drafts went along, it's something about it just fell by the wayside. He didn't turn out the way I wanted to be as dynamic. As it is, he's just kind of a jerk. Yeah. And I never, the first draft halfway solved that issue, but I had to cut the scene just because it didn't fit with the rest of everything. And so that kind of got lost. Rip's redeeming moment kind of got cut out of the second draft. Okay.
Are you a discovery writer?
No, I've tried and I hit a brick wall. Okay. I have to know what I want to accomplish in the scene before I sit down, because then it's easy, because like I know I have to go to X spot, and so I just set up the beginning to a direct line between the two pieces.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which that always has holes in it. So I end up having to do a little bit of discovery writing anyways, because I forgot to account for this character being in a completely another room when the scene starts. So like now I gotta why would they come out and interact with these other things, stuff like that.
Sweet. Well, everyone go buy Levi's book.
It's legitimately good. It's legitimately good.
Is it anywhere besides the A word?
Not yet. I've got another book I'm working on that I don't know when I'll have it finished to publish that. But when that comes out, I'm going to do some revisions on this one, because I know there's still some typos and stuff that snuck through. And then I'll have it up on other places.
That reminds me, there is one, and it's sweet tea, but it says sweat tea.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. They
were drinking sweat tea. I was like, oh, that's gross.
My sister reminds me that every time the book comes up.
Nice.
So just keep it going. It says sweat. It means sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sweet tea.
I thought there would be more of your comment section, Levi, in the book. And there was only one thing that I noticed that was you from the comment section, is that you have a married couple named Gene and Jean.
Oh yeah, that's.
That's Levi. I was like, that's Levi right there.
I meant to change it, but I just never did. Because when I wrote that, I was like, yeah, this is a joke. I'm going to change this, blah, blah, blah. And it just kept going through. And I'm like, I published it rationalizing in my mind, like, this is a joke on whoever, if there's ever an audiobook version, this is a joke on the person reading that book.
I was going to say,
like, you cannot keep track of who Gene and Jean are just saying it. Like, on the page you can because they're spelled differently, but like, just saying it, you can't. And so now I'm like, man, I should have changed it. But they're essentially the same character anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're never not in, one's not going to be in a scene without the other one. So, you know, they accomplish the same purpose.
The whole sweat tea.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get it. I'm so glad I brought it up. So
Yes.
everyone can bring it up to you all the time.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at that picture of Keith there pretending to read.
All right. So, yeah, all right. So we're about an hour and a half here. Everyone go buy Levi's book.
Yep.
Everyone go buy Tim's book.
No, it sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's great.
Oh, just a
I'm reading
second.
these, I'm just clicking
My-
on them.
Before we go, I have to read the quote. It's in the book. It's on a dedications page.
Oh, yes.
Takes from the
Yes, that's awesome.
The quote my mother said after she had read the final draft is here from the book. A quote from my mother concerning an early draft of this novel. It is coherent.
That's
Which,
pretty
if
good.
you know my mom, that is high praise.
Nice.
It's not for her. She didn't understand a word of it. She's like, what is this with the kid and he's seeing the colors and all this snake nonsense? Like, what?
Well, here's actually you wrote for something very special in mine. It says, "Dear Jake, I hope you enjoy this book. You are my favorite YouTuber. You're like a brother to me. I love you, Levi."
That's good.
Levi was. What did you spell your name with a little heart over the I
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of a dot?
I accidentally put it over the L, but you know, it's no blatant lies. I said, Jake, you stink. Roll this book into marijuana cigarettes. It's all.
Marijuana cigarettes.
I say this book is blazing. GG deuces, people. Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Oh,
Look what Steve says. Levi's mom for the next E.E.B.S special.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We'll have a mom edition. Get all our moms on here.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be even more controversial than having my dad on E.E.B.S.
I think it's all the ones I've signed have either gone to like relatives and then one to Jake because he sent me that box of books. I think I've drawn a picture in all of them. Was there a picture in yours, Jake? I'm pretty sure.
I think it's
Just like a doodle. I can't draw worth anything.
No,
so
I
it's
don't think I can show it because it's a bunch of penises, but yeah.
It's a snake.
It's just a sword, right? See? Oh, I don't want to say which.
That's invisible.
We'll see what you actually. It's like a dagger.
Yeah.
I think. Or a penis. Could be a penis.
It's cold to launch. Hello.
All right. Okay. So, all right, let's wrap it up here, and we're going to talk about what we got going on our channels, and we're going to have the since we just talked about Levi for an hour. Why don't you go ahead and start, Dave? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, you picked the guy that has nothing going on. So, I'm Dave. My channel is the Vintage Paperback Reader, as I was sort of referred to earlier.
To be fair, you just read a science fiction novel.
Stupid.
Okay, Jake. But I think I was prior to the chat here. I was talking about some loot I picked up, so I will definitely be doing a vintage, cool sort of horror paperback haul. So watch out for that coming up. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
What kind of books do you cover before you move on?
Well, I didn't specify because it's not specific. It's definitely vintage, so hence the name. But I try to keep it, just prior, 1990 and earlier. That's what I consider. But mystery, voodoo die stuff, the horror stuff. There is some sci-fi. I do read some sci-fi now and then because if it's a Doll Yellow Spine, I must read it. So,
of course,
and can't avoid the sci-fi over there.
Yeah,
but yeah, so pretty much a little bit of everything.
Dave.
My question is, what music can we expect in the background of your backdrop there? Because...
Thank you. Checks in the mail. So back here, I got Castle Rat. They are an American doom metal band. If you like the old school doom, but what I really want to show is they got a new album coming out.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!
It's called Wizard. It's it sounds great from what
the singles Wizard. The album is the bestiary, is it not?
Could be. I'll have to double check that. But I know that at least they've cut down on the number of vinyl versions you can buy. They had 30 of them and did the whole collect your all. But anyway, I definitely will throw some stuff in the background. There might be, and I'm not promising, a Barry Manilow album to come.
Oh my gosh! Okay, you guys don't understand. Dave is responsible for like at least 60% of the music on my writing playlist right now. I watched his videos. I'm like, what album is that in the background? I got to put that on the playlist.
I try to curate as best I can, but I guarantee you there will be an Olivia Newton-John occasionally showing up.
Yeah, let's talk about Dave's background actually, because what you got going on there is beautiful. And every time I'm like, man, I need to do something like Dave.
I appreciate that. This has been a long time coming. I got another channel. I'm not going to, I'll put a link down in a comment or something that's got a video of this or a tour of this whole room, man. I got a bead door over there. Of course, I got a spaghetti lamp back here. I got a macrame owl you can't see over there.
Oh my gosh.
Got some concert posters. I got Suicidal Tendencies signatures hanging on the walls.
Nice.
Tiki stuff, man.
I was just about to say I was waiting for you to say a tiki bar over the corner of
I got a 60s shadow box on the wall with all the tiki cups. I got a nice wood one with the swizzle sticks with the palm leaf. Yeah, gosh. Good stuff.
Groovy, baby.
All right, Levi, you're the next guest. You go next.
Well, I was just going to show my book for like 3 or 4 minutes, but
we did that. We beat you.
I still got to film it. I've got a rant. I need to film about this comic book I read, and it's steaming garbage.
Yeah.
Did that, and I bought like 10 million books this afternoon, so expect some book haul stuff. Other than that, it's business as usual. If you don't know, my whole gimmick is that I just measure all the books I buy. I weigh them, I measure them, I check them off a list. The whole bit.
Is that your tree house? Do you live in that tree house?
I live adjacent to that tree house.
You don't sleep up there?
No, not often. It's not even. The treehouse used to be 5-6 feet off the ground. It has now collapsed to it is sitting on the ground.
Oh. A collapsed treehouse. That's even better.
Yeah, it's a dilapidated treehouse.
Hey, Chris is tearing it up here.
I know.
All right, why don't you go next, Tim?
Me? Okay. Well, I am currently in the middle of reading The Dragon Masters by Jack Vance, which a few people were talking about this, but then Grammaticus made a video a little while ago, and I was like, okay, I need to check this out.
That sounds crazy.
It's kind of weird. It's a little awkward. I'm only like 60 pages in, but it's an interesting concept at least. And Nick, you're the one who sent me this, by the way, because it's a double that also has The Last Castle by Jack Vance in the back. I might be reading that as soon as I'm done. I don't know. It depends on how much I like this. This is my first Jack Vance, so I'm slowly ticking all the classic Appendix N fantasy authors off the list. And then after that, I get back to Redwall as I wont to do. And after that, I'm actually doing a buddy read with Kevin Toll from Kevin Toll Reads. We're reading Gate of Ivral by C.J. Cherryh. It's the first of Morgaine cycle novels, which I've been trying to get a hold of forever, and I finally got a copy. So he and I are going to be tackling that one together. I don't know when that's going to come up on YouTube, but I mean, we'll be reading it in the next couple weeks or so. So we'll see.
Nice.
And I've got I think I probably won't have it out till sometime in the middle of next week, but I'm also working on a top 7 sword and sorcery short stories video.
Why 7?
Because if I did 10, honestly, I would just be putting on more Robert.
There's not enough for 10. There's not enough good sword and sorcery stories for 10. Unless you're just listening like Robert E. Howard.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Has everybody unsubscribed to Levi yet?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get everyone to unsubscribe. This is my goal. I built it up to a meager number, and I'm just going to decimate it down to 0.
Yeah.
The hardest part is going to be convincing my parents to unsubscribe.
Your parents are subscribed?
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
Mine aren't. Is that it, Tim? Is it my turn yet?
Oh my gosh, yes, it's your turn. Go ahead, Jake.
My name is Jake from the channel Pulp Mortem, where I read old stuff, old science fiction.
You read garbage. Be honest.
Sometimes I find good stuff. Lately, I have not. I just had Paul from Geeks Love Dogs.
I bet when you messed up Dave's name, I bet Paul was like, yes.
No, it's not a reflection on any of your guys' names. It's 100% my scrambled egg brain. Yeah, can you imagine if I did drugs when I was younger? Dude, this is how bad it is now. I'm stone cold sober. Anyways, yeah, I'm reviewing books. I'm reading books. I started recently doing short stories, which is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that a lot just because of the time commitment. I usually spend a lot of time on my books or on my videos. And so I don't have a lot of time right now. I'm in the process of moving. So it's kind of probably have a little more shorts. Jake is the garbage man, just tossing his garbage at foes. Anyway, that's what I got going on. So book reviews coming up, all that jazz. Nothing crazy.
Is that how
Thanks
you
for
spell
watching.
foes? That looks weird.
Yeah.
That is.
Foes.
It's one of those words where the longer you look at it, it's like, that's not how it's spelled.
Foes?
That's what that's foes. F-O-E-S.
Yeah. All right. I'm last. Nick, you're here, the book graveyard. We talk about vintage genre fiction. I don't even know how to say my own shit. Anyway, tomorrow I got another live, and it's the Men's Adventure Quarterly.
Yes.
Bob Dice, Bill Cunningham are going to be here. That's going to be live, and you can ask them all the questions. We had a lot of fun last time with the Men's Adventure Library. So Bob's back. He's in both of them, but it is different. So we're going to talk
this one's
about.
going to be an actual interview.
No, it's not. Are you? You know what's awesome is I was so worried about that first one. It was the first video I did like that, and I had like 3 pages of questions. Like I was so prepared, and then I would just like turn the camera on, and Bob was like, "Go!" Like I didn't have to do anything. I was like, "Okay, cool."
He was even running the chat and everything. It was awesome.
He's like, "Nick, kill that one." So yeah, that was nice. And yeah, that I don't know. There probably won't be much for a minute. I gotta take it easy. Just man, sometimes it's too much.
Can't all be word salads.
I know. And you know what? That takes me like 8 hours to do, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
You know what we actually need to combat this kind of book fatigue or review fatigue? I'm thinking right now, if we were wearing just like matching Snuggies and they were just like so comfortable and cozy, you know what I'm talking about? It'd just be like kind of give us this, we're all around the living room, we're all around the, the the cult table or whatever.
Wait, cult table. Who brought up cult table?
Could we
Why
have
would you
silly
say that?
names too?
Silly. No, they're not silly. They're scary names, right?
I've already got a silly name. That's too late for me.
I feel like you're referencing something, Jake.
Huh?
I
I
don't like
don't we're the only live. We're the only live book club around.
You're
right?
the only live book club on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, look
First
at
and
the
only.
chat. One of us. One of us.
Oh, the one of us. Yeah.
Gabba, gabba, we accept you. We accept you. One of us.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I got going on. So just tune in, everyone. All 15 of you left tomorrow at 6 p.m. Come back. And I do have plans to have other interviews, other people. I have that.
I want you to ask them how the Destroyer measures up to like the general men's adventure stuff they cover.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would depend on if they've read the Destroyer.
Yeah.
You're not
Or
going
feel it
to bring
reading
up the
the
Destroyer.
And it might be different for them because I mean, especially for Bob, I know he's from the couple maybe not a couple, but a generation ahead of me. Sorry, Bob. So maybe he gets all the references. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. Do we announce? Can we announce the next one or?
I mean, we can announce what we're reading next, I guess. I should have got my copy ready.
I got you. I got you right here. Right
Okay,
here.
yeah, you chose yours off. Yes, we are reading At the Earth's Core by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's the first of the, what is that series called?
Lucidar.
Pellucidar, yes, the Pellucidar series. That'll be happening on my channel. Still figuring out the guests, still figuring out the time, but that is the book we will be reading. So yeah, hopefully this will break the streak of, I was gonna say bad books, but this has been a mixed reception here. So at least for me, it's gonna break the string of bad books.
I'm just telling you right now, Nick is not down with Pellucidar. I can't see that happening.
What you're saying? I'm already. I'm gonna hate.
I'm calling it now. Nick is gonna be like, I don't understand what's going on or who these people are. What the heck is this animal right here? Like, what is happening? I'm calling it now. Yeah, I'm predicting it.
We'll see. I have faith in Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yeah,
I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie and I like it.
That was the other thing. We were kicking around watching the
good.
movie and talking about the movie as well in the same stream. So
And we'll be the first. We'll be the first book group to do that. Also.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
No other book group does things like that. They're not smart enough to do things like that, honestly, if we think about it. Like,
what other book group's going to talk about movies? It's
no one. There's no one else.
No.
Hey Eric, it's over.
Oh.
It's very late. You're 1 hour and 42 minutes late.
I'll
It's
like
okay.
it. Listen, I told the guys earlier, I've been shopping for houses and putting offers in houses. So literally, like for the last week, I've been nonstop reading this in my spare time. I know I saw that. That's impossible.
This is stupid.
Too
This
hot.
can't happen.
It's dumb.
Just some kind of satire I don't understand.
Yeah, it was me. It's not you all. It's me. It's not you, Destroyer and Chun. It's me.
that's right.
That's right, Dick. I just hope Caroline Monroe is going to be in that Edgar Rice Burroughs book. That's all I'm hoping for.
I'm sure there will be someone described in a similar way to her, but
Maybe I could print off her picture from the movie and tape it to the inside of the book. And if I hate it, I'll just flip it over to her and be like, "It's okay. It's okay."
you're here for me, Carolyn.
All right. Are you guys ready to say goodbye?
Goodbye. Goodbye, YouTube.
Farewell. Thank you, guests.
Buy Levi's book. Buy The Sunken Door. Available on Amazon.com.
I thought you were saying goodbye to my book. I'm like, no.
No. Go as soon as you turn this off. Go buy Levi's book. It was great.
Or if you don't want to buy it, just come on over. You can have one of mine.
All right, I'm hitting the end. I'm hitting the end thing now. So everyone say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.